Welcome back. In this session, we are going to create our first view. As you know, we've now created external tables for all our files except a rate code and payment type. We didn't create the external tables for these because they are file format JSON, which is not a supported file format for external tables, but we can create views on them. So in this session, I'll show you how to create a view for the rate code file. Let's switch over to Synapse Studio and get started. Here we are in the Synapse Studio. I'm going to create a new script that will hold all of the view creations within our bronze layer. So that's going to be called the 5_create bronze views. And the first thing we want to do is to switch to our logical data warehouse database so that we can use the external data sources and the file formats that we've already created. Now let's start creating the view. As we've seen previously, in order to create the view, we got to have the statement create view and then followed by the name of the view. So you can specify the schema as well. So I'm going to specify the schema. I don't want my view to be created under the DBO schema. I want it to be under bronze schema. So that's going to be bronzed. You want to give a name for your view? So I normally tend to use VW as the prefix for a view so that when I see the database object, I know it's a view rather than a table, but it's up to you. You can either call it as VW_rate code, I'll just rate code, or you can suffix it with a VW as well. So it's up to you, but have some kind of naming standard. So it's going to be called a VW_rate code, and that's followed by the keyword as, and then you want to give the select statement. I'm not going to type the to select statement here. As we know, we already did the select as part of our discovery work. So let's go and grab that select statement. So let's go to the Explore rate code file. And as you know, we had two different versions of the rate code, the ratecode.json and the ratecode multiline.json. Let's not worry about the multiline. Let's use the ratecode.json, and I'm going to copy this select statement as a whole and take it into this and put it here. So now we've got the select statement, but we need a couple of changes because in this database we don't have this data source. So what we have is the NYC taxi SRC, and also the NYC taxi SRC takes you to the container. Let me show you what I mean. So that takes you to this container. But our file is under the raw folder, as you can see here. So I'm going to give that raw/ratecode.json as the bulk file name. So let's do that. And that's everything. We've created the statement here. We can just execute it. But let's just run this. And that's failed with error saying create view must be the first statement in a query batch. As you saw previously with a create schema, so create a view has to be the first statement in a query batch in a transaction because we've got a semicolon here. Those two statements were taken together as one transaction. That's why it failed. But all you have to do is to replace the semicolon with a go. So that actually each statement is now going to be executed as their own, put it back to our transactions. So let me do that. I'm doing the go here as well because we are going to have further preview statements and they'll fail as well. So let's just run this through now. And as you can see, it succeeded successfully. And you can read a select statement on the view like you would on a table normally. So let's do that. Select star from this table, and that should bring back the data we need. Let's run that through. And that's executed successfully. As you can see, we got the data as we expected. Before we finish, I want to show you one more thing, because if you rerun this one now, it's going to fail, as you would imagine, because the view already exists. So let's just put the drop statement to drop the view if it already exists. Fortunately, the syntax is quite simple here. It is very similar to SQL Server or any other database normally. So you have the drop view if exit statement which works in Synapse as well. So let's do that drop view if exists and then the view name. So what will happen is actually it's going to drop the view if it already exists, otherwise it'll just simply execute and succeed. So now we should drop the view and then carry on and create the view. So I'm going to change the semicolon to go as well because we are going to have another view for the other file later on. So let me run this through now. And it should succeed. That succeeded. Let's have a quick look at the database and make sure we can see the view as well. So that's our LDW database. And similar to the external resources and external tables, we got the views as well. So as you can see, we've got the view here and all the columns you can see as well. So you can right-click on the view and then just run a select statement and that will just fetch the data you need. So it's as simple as that. Let me discard this script and publish the other one so that we've got it in the repository. So that's the end of this session. I'll see you in the next one.